Hi, everyone, and welcome to my broadcast today. This is Dr. James Ugwoga on Politics Today. Nigeria goes to the polls in 2023 to elect leaders at all levels. And I want us to get it right this time because this is a make or mar election for Nigerians and Nigeria. Over the years, we have had politicians come to us with promises. And what happens is after we vote for them, they forget all the promises. And some of them will even claim that the manifesto or the promises were made by their parties, and therefore they cannot be held to deliver on those promises. And that's why in this election cycle, we need to hear, in addition to the manifestos, which is good, we need to hear from the candidates what they would do for the Nigerian people and with the Nigerian people. Enough of these surrogates, enough of these spokespersons. We need to hear from the candidates, in addition to their manifestos, what they intend to do, how they intend to solve the problem of Nigeria. Because if anybody does not understand the problem, he should never be allowed to solve it, because they will make it worse. There are people you hear on the political trails talking about numbers, castigating people who talk about numbers and statistics and economic terms. But these are the very things that are the problem of the nation. We are suffering because we are a totally consuming nation. Our net export is next to zero. So we need someone who understands the problem to begin to attempt to solve the problem. You can't just come with catchphrases and think that's all we need. No, we need someone who understands how to move us from consumption to production. We need someone who understands how to convert our vast uncultivated lands into agricultural heavens, and therefore lead us to feed ourselves and feed Africa and feed the world. There is no reason why Nigeria cannot feed the world. If Netherlands, which is just a fraction of a state in Nigeria, can export even to Nigeria and to many other countries agricultural products in billions of dollars, there is no reason why we cannot do the same. At least feed ourselves first, and then think about feeding Africa and the world. The way Nigeria is leading in music, in arts, in sports, in different areas, we need to be leading in food production because we have the land. There is no reason why in Nigeria we should have power problems. Why? Because we have sunlight almost from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And all you need is to have solar farms in strategic places and you can power the whole nation. And then we have dams, we have rivers, we have everything you need. We have natural resources, we have uranium, you have all kinds of things that you can use to generate power, but we don't make use of these. And we get people into places of power that have no understanding of these things. They have little to no understanding, and all they do is take the money, stash it in different banks overseas, and that is it. But every time before an election, they come to us and act like normal people. They eat corn with us. They eat meals at school with us. They even ride buses with us. And then they'll come to our shops and give us trader money. You remember that? But immediately the election is over, their dispatch riders or escort riders will run you off the road, off the street. Because they know they don't care about you. And don't you think that your vote don't count? Because they do. If they don't, they won't be buying them from you. They won't be asking you for your PVCs and sending you some money. They won't be giving you calling cards and then asking you to fill a form and put your PVCs and all that. They will not do that. That because they know your vote counts, that's why they're asking for them. So don't sell your vote this time, because your vote is your voice, and your voice is your conscience. If you sell your vote, you have sold your voice. If you sell your voice, you have sold your conscience, and you will keep mute for the next 4 years. So this time around, we need candidates that we have interrogated. If they are not presenting themselves for interrogation, we are not going to vote for them. Let's tell them that we will not vote for them unless they present themselves for interrogation, and after that we can hold them accountable. When the election is over, it is not over until their tenure or the period they were elected is over. They are accountable to us. They are our servants. They need to tell us. They need to give account of stewardships, because they are stewards. They are not rulers. They are stewards. And if they show characteristics of rulers, we should not vote for them, because they will not change when they get into power. When someone tells you who they are, believe them. If someone tells you, I am going to treat you 97% to 5%, believe him. He will do that. Buhari has proven that to us. So let's not be naive and think that, oh, it's just politics. No. Listen, guys, for the first time in a long time, we have a campaign where a particular party is talking about solutions. It's talking about the issues and how to move us from consumption to production, and how to bring down criminality, and how to pull people out of poverty for the first time. The rest of the people, they tell you, oh, for 16 years, PDP, they spent 16 billion, they couldn't get power. They have been in power for 8 years and they still campaigning against PDP from 16 years ago, because that period was in the time of OBJ, which is 1999 to 2007. And today in 2022, going to 23, they're still campaigning against 2007, because that was when the 16 billion was used, allegedly. They forgot they are the ones in power. So we cannot do that anymore. We cannot continue like that anymore. We need people who understand the issue and who can solve the issue. Because if they were saying PDP was there for 16 years and couldn't give us power, look, we are here for 8 years and look what we have done, then they'll be showing us their scorecards. But they're not showing us their scorecards. They're just campaigning against PDP and talking about brooms and umbrellas. But for the first time, we are going to vote for people. Listen, you use broom to sweep your house because you have a house. You use umbrella to cover yourself because there's security and you're protecting yourself from the sun or from the rain. But listen, we don't have security. We don't have a house. Our roof is leaking and our lives are threatened. Right now, your vote is to protect people. The man, the woman, and the child. Mama, papa, and Pekin. That's what your vote is for this time around. Let's secure our lives first, before we look at brooms, before we look at umbrellas. Right now, let's secure the people. In Nigeria today, you cannot fly because it's too exorbitant. You cannot travel on the road because kidnappers and bandits, killer headsmen will deal with you. It's all about how much money you have to pay for your ransom. You cannot travel by rail because they will abduct you and then it becomes an object of negotiation. Again, ransom. So let's cast this vote for humanity. Let's cast this vote for security. Because no place is safe. The other day in Ihamufu in Enugu, they were there killing many people in the villages. The women came unarmed to stage a peaceful protest and were arrested. That is how bad it is. You can't speak up and say things are so bad, because if you do, you will be arrested. If you do, you'll be arrested. There was a man who has been in jail from last year because they claimed that he was making some utterances and they said it was treason and so on and so forth. But the things the man said, I don't want to say his name here, but the things he said are things happening. These bandits are taking over our forests, killing our people. And the government does nothing. I heard from Peter Obi some time ago that when someone is kidnapped and if the person is sick, these guys will call the doctors to go and treat them on a cell phone. But the military are the only ones that cannot trace these people. But the doctors will go and treat their hostages. This is unheard of. This is crazy. And if you hear all these things and you know all these things, and they're killing people in your own village or your villages, and you still cast your vote for these people, I have no words for you. But I want to tell you, in 2023, we are going to cast our votes for people. For your mom, for your dad, for yourself. For mama, for papa, for Peking. If you're up to the age of voting, cast the vote for humanity. Cast the vote that says, I will pull you from poverty. I will take you from consumption to production. I will stop criminality. If I don't steal, if my wife don't steal, my vice doesn't steal, people around me don't steal, I will reduce criminality or corruption by 70%. Because if I don't add something, you will not add. Let's vote for people like that. Before we vote for anybody, let's interrogate their past. Let's listen to what Mr. Common Sense himself said about Peter Obi before this dispensation, before he declared to run, because the moment he declared to run, all hell was let loose. The same guy that was a sent to them in 2019 became the one to go after. So I'm going to ignore what they're doing right now, although we talk about them if there's time for it. But let's ignore what they're saying right now because they want to get in. You know, these politicians who play politics of calumny, who play politics of pull him down, they can say anything to pull anyone down. But we're going to ignore that. Let's go to what they said when they didn't think he was their enemy. In other words, what they said with their clear minds. No inducements, no political gains. Let's listen to Mr. Common Sense himself and we come back and take a peek at what Mr. Obi has to say about himself. And then we'll come and summarize it with the new manifesto that was just released. We'll just take a peek at paragraph 8 or page 18. Sorry, we'll take a peek at page 18 of the newly released manifesto and we call it a day for today.
Could possibly get out from the oil boom and bust cycle. Anambra is not an oil producing state and does not have oil in commercial quantity, yet it does not take loans or owe worker salary. According to the United Nations, Anambra has one of the lowest poverty rates in Nigeria at 11.2%, which places her ahead of 33 states. Anambra and other southeastern states lagged in education and had poor boy-child school enrollment. But today, Anambra leads the nation in WASC results. For the past 3 years, Anambra has had over 60% pass rates in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. They have made the best improvements in education in the whole nation, and the state government even supports private schools financially. But look at these states that thrive by depending solely on federal allocation. They are broke, cannot pay salaries, and are so debt-ridden, banks will not lend them any more money. Worst of all is that these states are performing woefully in education. There is something to be learned from Anambra. Is it their policy? Is it their budgeting practice? Is it their sense of community? Whatever it is working. The federal government and other states should study what Anambra State has been doing right and replicate it nationally. Anambra proves that Nigeria does not need oil to thrive. What Nigeria needs to thrive is education. What is under the ground of this nation is nothing compared to what is between the ears of our people. My name is Ben Murray Bruce, and I just want to make common sense.
That's Mr. Common Sense himself. As we say in Nigeria, follow who no road. What Peter Obi had demonstrated in Anambra State can be duplicated in all the states of the nation, according to Mr. Common Sense himself. So let's follow the man who knows road. who has done it before, a man who knows the way. Let's follow him. He's gone there before, like they say in North America, been there, done that. So let's follow the guy who has been there, who has done that, because he knows what to do. He knew how to pull Anambra State from number 26, 27 to number 1 in WAEC and NECO in 2 years. He believed in human capital development, and he followed the Millennium Development Goals, and he won awards for that in Anambra State. He can do the same. We can do the Sustainable Development Goal that will expire in 2030. We can do that. Many people in power don't even understand these things, and so they're just there, squandering the money. We need someone who understands this, who is not there to enrich themselves, who is not there because they're hungry or they couldn't find another job. Because many people have turned politics into another means of earning a living. They really have no vision. So we need people who have vision to lead us, to lead the way. Now let's hear from Mr. Peter Obi what he had to say, and then we'll come back and take a peek at that manifesto, and then we can call it a day for today.
Challenge, a people's champion is needed.
I'm desperate to see Nigeria work.
Humble, diligent, tested, and effective. Leadership is not easy, but Peter Obi has proven it can be done right. In Nigeria, by Nigerians, time and again.
I feel like pain that a country that has all the potentials to work is not working.
Join the march to Nigeria's progress. Stand and be counted with your PVC. Support positive change you can trust. Progress with evidence is here. Peter Obi leads the way. We will follow. The time is now. Your freedom from tyranny is in your hands. Get your PVC. Nigerians far and near, home and abroad, join this march. Join Peter Obi and take a stand against political manipulation, rampant corruption, and national confusion. Choose productivity and progress for Nigeria. Get your PVC and be heard.
If I'm president today, no government official will spend dollar. You go to jail. We have a currency. It's our country. We should be proud of it.
Remember, do not sell your vote. You've heard it. Do not sell your vote. Your vote is your voice. Your voice is your conscience. If you sell your vote, you've sold your voice. If you sell your voice, you've sold your conscience. And you have no right to complain for the next 4 years. As they are rampaging the nation, kidnappers, killer herdsmen, not the regular herdsmen, because we've lived in our communities with herdsmen all the time. We've lived with Fulani people all the time in all the nations, in all the parts of the nations. We've lived with them all along. We had no issues with when I was a kid. They used to hawk milk, raw milk from cows in our villages. We live with them peacefully. But this time around, there is a political manipulation, if you will, that these guys brought in some killer herdsmen from surrounding nations to help them with 2019 election and 2015, and also 2015, specifically 2015 elections, and somewhere in 2009. And then when Jonathan disappointed them, in quote, because he said, my political ambition, my personal political ambition is not worth the blood of a single Nigerian. These guys that came in prepared for war had no job to do. The people that brought them in couldn't pay them, nor sustain them, nor send them back to where they came from. And I'm saying this from El Rufai. That's what El Rufai told us. And many of them in political class. They told us that they know these people. They go to the bushes to negotiate with them. And they couldn't send them back. That's El Rufai. Couldn't send them back where they came from. So they allowed these people roam the country, killing innocent people, kidnapping people. I I watched a clip the other time. They say that they stop it from entering Abuja. Between Niger and Abuja, they had these bandits stopping people from entry, from moving freely in their country. I also read that El Rufai warned Buhari that these people are after him, and that he himself might even relocate from Kaduna, or he was asking Buhari to relocate to Kaduna or something like that. I also heard that these guys have taken over so many communities in Niger State. They're not scared. They're not scared of doing that in IBB states. If you know the awe that people have about IBB, and these guys are right there in his state, and people, well, let's summarize today. Let's take a peek at that manifesto. So, on page 18 of the manifesto, it says that we are going to shift. There was an itemization of the plans or the steps to move the nation from consumption to production. All right, we're going to run a production-centered economy. Are you hearing that one? We are going to run a production-centered economy driven by agrarian revolution and export-oriented industrialization. Agrarian revolution, export-oriented industrialization. You will also see that non-payment of salary will be criminalized for the first time. We know that a worker deserves his wages, but in Nigeria, you can work for 14 months. Please don't say this outside Nigeria, but you can work for 14 months and not be paid and still expected to come to work. Not 14 days, 14 months. In parts of the world, they pay you every 7 days, every week. In parts of the world, they pay you every 2 weeks. But the worst case, they pay you every month on the spot. The last working day of the month, you get paid in parts of the world. But in Nigeria, you can work for 14 months, a year plus, and you're not paid. And these guys will come back next time and ask you to vote for them with no shame on their faces. They're not apologizing, asking for forgiveness. No, they're asking with bold faces that you vote for them. And then they will give you, they have the effrontery to give you 5,000 or get a bag of rice or beans customized with their images and ask you to vote for them for a bag of beans. See, the common man gets 30,000 naira a month. A bag of rice or beans will be more than that. So if you're buying a bag of beans, that's your whole salary for the month. How you go to work is your business. How you pay your rent is your business. If you make 30,000 naira a month and you buy a loaf of bread for 1,000, that means you can't drink water with that bread unless you're getting water free. You can't do any other thing. You just eat that bread. And that's all you do. Maybe you can eat a loaf for 2 days and then you can have money to transport yourself to the work, or you trek to work. We can't do this. We can't. This is not sustainable. And then at the end of it, they will owe you. While some people, after being your governors or your leaders, they will give themselves pensions and gratuities in hundredfold increase from what they were getting when they were in office. If you know these people and you still vote for them, I have no words for you. But I want you to vote your conscience this time. Vote for the man, the woman, and the child. Vote for Mama, Papa, Pikin. That's where we are at right now. This is not about it is my turn. Even if we want to do it that way, it is the turn of the Southeast. But we're not doing it that way. But let's say we do it that way. The South have taken a turn. The Southwest have taken a turn and been vice also for another full turn of 8 years. The North has taken over and over again. Even the North is there right now. For equity, power needs to shift to the South. And if it comes to the South, the only region that hasn't taken is the Southeast. So power should shift to the Southeast. We did this in 1999. So I don't want people to think that this is, no, we did this in 1999. Because in 1992-93, when MKO was denied his mandate, the whole nation rallied and in one voice called that the power will go to Southwest, where MKO was from. And in that election cycle, the two parties then, SDP and NRC, only fielded candidates from Southwest, so that head or tail, power goes to Southwest. And then after that, he went to the North, and then the South. And then, so when he went to North, he went to Yaradua. The only reason he came to Jonathan was because from natural events, Yaradua couldn't continue, and then he went to Jonathan. And then after Jonathan, he went back to the North, to Buhari. Now after Buhari, he's coming to the South. And when he comes to the South, since Jonathan has represented South, and OBJ has represented Southwest, we need a candidate of Southeast extraction. Now, I know some Southeasterners wouldn't want Peter Obi to take the turn, because if he does take the turn, it means that when they will be ready, and you know who I'm talking about, and those I'm talking about, when they will be ready to run, they will be told that your region has taken a turn. And so they will try to do everything to pull him down. But we are not even dwelling on that, because put that aside. You've heard Mr. Common Sense himself. Put that region aside. Put the ethnicity aside. Put the religion aside. Let's look at competence. Because when you have a problem, that's when you need your best candidates. I was watching Argentina and Australia play soccer today. Lionel Messi is 35 years old. Not the youngest in the terms of footballing age. You could see him strolling throughout the pitch. At one point, I thought the coach might replace him because he was not very effective. He wasn't running enough. He was walking a lot. But he was their MVP. And you saw the difference he made. You saw the moves he made. You saw the impact he had. Because he was their best player. They kept him on the pitch. And you saw the rest is history. Same goes with Cristiano Ronaldo. He's at 37, still playing at the World Cup. You still have Luis Suarez, 30-something, playing at the World Cup. Because they know their value. They know that in times like this, you see Edson Cavani, many of them in their 30s, playing in this World Cup. In times like this, you need your best candidates. You need your best. This is not the time to start playing ethnicity. When Nigerians play in soccer, everybody, Christians, Muslims, traditional people, they all sing Christian songs or gyration songs that is based around Christian songs. And nobody cares that it's a Christian song or they're saying hallelujah or they're saying Jesus. They don't care. You saw our girls perform in the under-17 World Cup in India. They were all chanting Christian songs when they had victory. You saw them praying in one accord before and after a game. Nobody cares where you came from. Nobody cares your religion. Because we have a task facing us. We choose our best to tackle the task. In 1996, we won the Olympic gold because we chose our best. But if you look at the lineup, they are mostly Igbos. And a few other people, but the coaches don't care. If you take Nigerian list of soccer players and the men's soccer players in 96, The defense are mostly Igbos. Okay, Chukwuka for all those. Iroha, the rest of the back line. Of course, you have other tribes elsewhere, but the back line is mostly Igbos. Okay, Chukwuka for Iroha. Amokalo also was part of them. But they don't care about the religion or whatever. When we have a problem facing us, we choose our best to tackle it. Right now, we have a problem facing us. And that problem is the problem of the economy. Our economy is in shambles. Our naira is falling like no man's business. This is not a time to take a guy who doesn't understand the meaning of GDP to put it in that place. Someone telling you, well, your money is in naira, so you don't worry about exchange rate. Forgetting that since we're mostly a consuming nation, the importers, if the money they use to import the goods cannot be recovered, they have to increase the price so they can recover. As your naira is falling, if I bought something for $1 and I'm selling it to you for 240 naira, that's in 2015. I bought something for $1 and I'm selling it to you for 250 naira in 2015, and all of a sudden $1 is now 750, 3 times more. That means I can't sell it to you for 250, because if you give me 250, I cannot buy another one for $1. So I have to demand from you to give me 750 so I can take it to go buy what I bought last time for the same $1. You see how it affects everybody. And then the landlord will increase his rent because to maintain his house, he has to buy some things that are imported. And he can't buy with what he paid before. And then the sellers, and then the transporters, and it goes on and on and on. So somebody who doesn't understand the link should not be allowed to manage the economy. It's as simple as that. We love everyone. And I was listening to Ahmed Datti yesterday, and he says, we will beat you, we will take you home, we'll treat you nicely, and we will show you how we will move Nigeria forward. And I think that's what it is. We are going to move Nigeria forward, whether you like it or not. And those that sworn over their lives that they will never see Nigeria that is working, we're not seeing Nigeria that is working. But Nigeria will work, and we'll move. We will move forward. We'll move from this place we are. This giant will rise. Did you watch the World Cup? Did you see our men and women performing? Davido and the rest of them, I think he's Daniel and the rest of them performing. Did you see that? Have you watched Black Panther? Did you see our guys performing? Did you watch Amazon performing in the Commonwealth Games? Did you see our people performing? Did you see that? Nigeria can be better. Think about if we have a government that works. Our girls, boys will go overseas and beat them in math and in science competitions, robotics. Did you see Omeife that was commissioned yesterday on Friday? Built, engineered, designed in Nigeria. Did you see what we can do with the ineptitudeness of the government? Think about if we have a government that works and we can get it right. Don't think about your tribes alone. Don't think about your village people alone, because that is not where it ends. Think about the whole. Who can get there and make sure that it's better for everybody? You can go home for Christmas, be able to afford the transportation, have power, turn on a switch and there's power. Have pipe-borne water. It is your right to have pipe-borne water. Nigeria signed up to that. Millennium Development Goal, part of it was to provide pipe-borne water for the citizens of the country. How many people have pipe-borne water? Flooding was killing people, 600 people plus. Of course, when government gives us numbers, there was undercount, especially when it's casualties. But they counted 600. They told us 600. Imagine losing 600 people to flooding. Something that is predictable, that every 10 years, Cameroon is going to open the dam. They know that. They were told. They were informed. It happened in 2012. It happened again in 2022. Listen, if we don't get it right, it will happen again in 2032 and 42. It will keep happening until we get it right. What does it cost to build the dam and protect lives and properties? And when this happened, 600 people carried, killed, dead in their sleeping. Some of them sleeping and just couldn't wake up anymore. That could be you. So when you're casting your vote, think about these 600 people. Think about them. And then also think about October 20th, 2020, the Lekki toll gate. Think about those that died waving the flag that is waving right behind me, waving the flag. And their crime was just standing and protesting brutality. They were killed in cold blood, and you saw people acting drama, finding camera, and nothing else was said about that. When you're casting your next vote, think about these things. Think about these things. So until I come your way again, stay safe. Stay safe. Protect yourself. Get your PVC. Make sure you vote. When the time comes, we'll come back again and again. But please do stay safe.